Rose Namajunas was last out in May, losing her strawweight title in the process, in what has been described as one of, if not the worst title fights of all time. However, it seems as though Thug Rose is seriously considering a move up to flyweight to challenge Bullet Valentina for her title. Today, we are discussing Rose's potential move to flyweight, plus plenty of other women's MMA news. Stay tuned. Let's jump straight in then. What is this move to flyweight all about? Rose has been conspicuous in her absence from the Octagon and social media of late, as she takes stock on losing her strawweight title to Carla Esparza earlier this year. The two-time champ is unsure when she will return, but seems to be seriously considering a move up to flyweight, saying recently, "Win or lose, going into the last fight, I knew I was going to take some time off." Namajunas, who is trained by her boyfriend, former UFC fighter Pat Barry, went on to claim that she knew before the Esparza fight she would be taking some time out, apparently until September, when she said she will know a lot more about her next steps in the sport. Whilst admitting that she has been training, she also revealed that it hasn't been consistent, saying, "I did have this little shoulder issue that I've been trying to rehab. And there was this girl, Isis Verbeek, who just won her Invicta fight that came into town, so I got to train with her a little bit. Just some little stuff trying to stay active, so I'm not on the couch completely." She also suggested that she could be set for a grappling match before she next takes to the Octagon, as she wants to increase her experience in that department, before also revealing that she plans to put on a little more muscle and just kind of see what happens from there. What else did the former champ have to say? Stay tuned to find out. Well, when asked outright if she does plan on moving up to flyweight, she refused to rule the idea out, saying she was literally just taking things one step at a time right now. Rose then suggested she needs time to assess different options, and that the UFC has been in touch to figure out what might be next. Of course, Rose's friend, Valentina Shevchenko, is the current flyweight queen, but she refused to rule out fighting the Kyrgyz striking great, saying, "I do consider myself to be Valentina's friend, so in order for me to do that, we would have to be set up, not for life, but it would have to be for a very good reason for me to even want to step to her." It sounded like she was saying the pay would have to be right, which is only fair really. Whilst admitting that Bullet is an incredible fighter in practice, she also went on to say that the practice mat and the Octagon are a totally different thing. Rose then also admitted that a fight with Valentina would definitely be very interesting, before going on to say that there is still a lot to consider. She finished by saying, "I've never had an issue with fighting a teammate or anything like that. I have started to think a little bit differently about fighting at this point in my life." Do you think Rose should move to flyweight? Let us know below. Rose has also been discussing Weili Zhang recently. Stay with us. Before both her fights with Zhang, Rose stirred the pot a little with some questionable comments about Zhang's native China and her opponent possibly being a communist. However, with 2 wins to her name over Weili, Namajunas has recently been discussing her old foe's chances should she take on current champ Carla Esparza for the title. Coming off the back of one of the worst title fights of all time, Rose's stock has fallen slightly, while Zhang is considered one of the most exciting female fighters on the whole UFC roster. And Rose explained that she fully expects the title to go back to China if the pair throw down, saying, "My feelings are that Weili will really not have much problems in that fight." Whilst Rose still believes she beat Esparza, the fight will go down as the worst title fight in UFC history, with literally nothing happening. And addressing the issue, Rose, who hails from Lithuanian heritage, said, "Carla is very interesting because she's very unassuming and things like that. Obviously, I think our fight was kind of an anomaly, the last one, because we both had some concerns about not messing up our faces and getting bloody and stuff like that. I mean, when you are worried about getting your face bloodied as an MMA champion, you probably have to reassess whether or not the sport is for you anymore." What do you make of Rose's words? Give us your thoughts below. Next up, we're talking about Molly McCann. Meatball recently entered the UFC rankings for the first time, thanks to 2 spinning elbow KOs in a row, before quickly tumbling out again. But with the fact that her next fight has already been booked, she could easily be back in the rankings before the end of the year. Liverpool's McCann is currently on a tear, and thanks to the UFC introduction of her teammate, Patty the Baddie Pimblett, she seems to have completely changed her mindset and looks more confident, and for her next fight, she will cross the pond again for her return to the States to fight Erin Blanchfield at UFC 281 in the iconic Madison Square Garden this November. The flyweight bout will see McCann, who has won her last 3 fights, take on local favorite Erin Blanchfield, who is so far unbeaten in her UFC career. Blanchfield is a BJJ black belt out of the Renzo Gracie Academy, but will have to be aware of McCann's ferocious stand-up when the pair do battle. Molly is a purple belt in BJJ, so we'll also have to be aware of the threat of being taken down, but the heart she shows in her fights is second to none, so don't count her out even if she is taken down. McCann's popularity has soared of late, given the exciting style she exhibits, as well as the popular chant she orchestrated at the end of her last fight, which you can find online. Who do you have in this one? We're talking about Nina Nunes now. Stay with us. Nina Nunes has this week revealed that she is retiring from mixed martial arts. The American BJJ purple belt has decided to call it a day so she can focus on extending her family. Nunes is the wife of bantamweight champ Amanda Nunes and retires with a 11-7 MMA record. She decided to lay her gloves down in the Octagon following her win over Cynthia Calvillo last week, and said after the fight, "As a fighter, I think I've done what I wanted to. It started as a hobby. I got all the way here. I'm going to focus on coaching and bringing up those girls that are struggling right now." Of course, fighting is a young person's sport, and if Nunes wanted to focus on having more children, she should do, as she wouldn't be able to do both simultaneously. And she can be proud of what she achieved in the game. She came into last weekend's fight at number 9 in the world in the strawweight division, but conceded that her natural division was almost certainly flyweight. Nunes finished by giving fans an insight into what the future holds, saying, "I feel great at 125. It's where I always should have been. I want more babies. I'm stepping away to have another kid." Nunes gave birth to the couple's first daughter, Regan, back in 2020. Who is your favorite female fighter right now? And finally, Clarissa Shields has been discussing Amanda Nunes. American boxing sensation Clarissa Shields will take on Savannah Marshall next month as she bids to avenge the only defeat of her career, which happened more than 10 years ago in the amateurs. However, speaking recently, she has also suggested that she would be willing to fight current UFC bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes in both her own code as well as MMA. Speaking ahead of her upcoming world title fight with Marshall, Shields said, "Amanda Nunes said a week before her fight she wanted to fight me in the ring, which fans of both sports would almost certainly be interested in seeing." Shields then went on to say that it was actually Nunes' idea, saying, "So Amanda Nunes said she wanted to fight against me, and that would be one of the biggest fights in women's boxing as far as in crossovers, and I agree with it. I would love for us to box inside the ring, and like I've said before, I will get inside the cage with Amanda Nunes, but it would be in 2 years." Wow. Whilst the boxing fight would probably go to Shields, the MMA fight would almost certainly go to Nunes. What do you guys think about this one? As usual, thanks for stopping by today, and remember to tune in again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of other cool bits and pieces. And why not do us a solid by liking and sharing today's video, whilst also subscribing to our channel. Adios, amigos.